Well, it's been an up and down week this week. I think that you're always going to experience that. I know that getting some reports on the tornado in the Belfont area and some of the reaction there, I know that I was happy to see what the Belfont Church of Christ did. And of course, Randy Heffley had got in the middle of that. And I know that uh, that was very successful, a number of sandwiches. And I know that there's been a lot of follow up. Still, some of the people I've been able to make any contact with or get any follow up with, I kind of like to stay in touch with people that were in the Rocksteady boxing. I know Carlene Morse is out there in Albany, and I've had just a brief information that it was like a war zone and changed the landscape, but didn't sound good. I hope that with their business and now that their son runs that business, that everything works out there. Um, the other thoughts I had about that, I saw a video and it was noon. I think it was on the 28th, and I just caught the last of it, and it was by accident. I guess it had Don Stanley on there, and I haven't been able to track down that video yet. It may have been uh, either I know it was on KTV Channel 7 here, but I don't know if they produced it or if it was created by a sister station up in Springfield. It could have been KY3, and of course they're affiliated with ABC there. So hopefully I'll come up with that. One of the reasons I was kind of interested in that was uh, about 60 years ago, Don was my best man at our wedding, and we had been playing on a basketball team together. Of course, it won the state championship. It was in '61. Of course, I graduated in '62, and he was a year or so behind me. He might have been a sophomore at that time, but still, when I got married in '64, he was the best man, and we have had very infrequent times together. I think we celebrated the team that won the championship a year or so ago at Valley, but other than that, we've just had brief encounters, and it's kind of odd when you have a best man at your wedding. So I'm hoping to come up with that video because I thought it was kind of interesting. I just couldn't get it recorded, and I just saw his name pop up there, and I said, "Yep, that's the Don Stanley I know." So that was one of the odd things of the week. Of course, Christy completed her colonoscopy, and things are going pretty well on that. She's going to have to track and maybe do another one in a year, but so far things are benign, but still some things to watch. So we'll see how that goes. But she's looking forward now to maybe moving on some things that she can schedule her time with, and hopefully that'll be in some volunteer work or maybe even going through some driving training. So that's one of the other things. So I've been working a little bit on podcasts, and I wasn't able to schedule anything with the people that work with suicide prevention, but I wanted to keep it in a little bit different tone. I think if anybody watches that, they'll see that I wanted to stay more with discussing a little bit more of the personal side and kind of talk in a little different level than the technocrats, I guess. I wanted to talk about some things I've brought it up in other podcasts I've had, and so that's being active and communicating with people, but also the fact that it's been created for the hope of decreasing anxiety and reducing depression. I think one of the things that I monitor, at least on a quarterly basis, uh, with my doctor is how I'm doing on that. And last time we talked about it, I had reduced those two, and I think that was part of what I've been doing with some of the things I did with Rocksteady Boxing, which I've kind of highlighted in the past, and other things I've attempted to do to be active. I kind of laugh about the burnt orange I'm wearing right now, but I kind of got into the movie My All American, and those that have seen that know that it's about a Texas Longhorn, and it kind of centers on the Arkansas Texas game in 1969, and um, it treated it pretty decently. I know I've had some conversations about that on various points, and it's kind of funny. They showed the interception there with, uh, I guess, toward the end of the game where someone stepped in front of Chuck Dykes. And I remember Chuck Dykes coming to a Kiwanis meeting in Harrison, and I posed that question to him about what were the options on that, since it seemed to be if they had just kind of sit on it, if they couldn't make that pass and got a field goal, it would have probably put it out of reach because there was just a few minutes, maybe 4 or 5 minutes left. And I know that Dykes, even at that time, and it had been several years, kind of hesitated with a little bit of uh, kind of a tear in his eye, but he really he knew that was a critical part of that game, and that was part of the movie. But the movie was about, of course, a person that lost his leg to cancer, and then a year and a half later lost his life, and that was really the focus of the movie. But just because it had the 1969 movie on there. The other thing is that this time of year, the Burlsworth camps are going on, and hopefully Christy and I will make it down tomorrow, and they're doing their camp here in Little Rock tomorrow morning. So, and that's Saturday morning. No matter when you see this, that would be coming up the 1st of June, and it will be down at War Memorial. So I've kind of communicated with Vicki a little bit on that, Burlsworth, and if Chrissy's feeling okay, we'll try to make that trip down tomorrow and kind of see the Burlsworth. I've done some videos with Marty and about Greater, the movie, and also about the foundation. And I might pull some of that back up again, but it's out there. And again, that's kind of coincidental. I'll be watching a movie about a Texan tonight, and then going down and watching the thing with Arkansas tomorrow. But there's a lot of things there. Of course, today's game with the baseball is one of those things that you hope that they win, but it was kind of a odd game, and Arkansas seemed like they were earning their runs, even though they did get help from a few errors, but they were, I don't know, 10 walks or something. You just can't do that. You give up runs that are just kind of free runs. But they came back and won, I think, 17 to 9 or something, but it was much, much closer than that. So it's been kind of a crazy week, up and down, I think, for me, mentally and maybe socially, and I feel like I try to kind of keep thoughts about that because it sort of happens, it kind of catches you up at times, and you kind of reflect on some of the things in sports, but you also, some of your friends, and trying to maintain contact. So some of those are tough, and you look for people like your old friends to maintain conversation with, and then of course you're developing new friends, and you want those to happen as well. So I just wanted to kind of give an update, because I think sometimes being open about that is real key to dealing with Parkinson's. And then when I talked about people having issues with handling, the I guess the situation that it's touched many families and friends, and I touched on that in the podcast, that as a 911 director, I saw it up front when we got many calls, and they were handled well, but it was people that just handle it with their experience. They couldn't transfer it off to you know, I guess a suicide prevention crew that would have been much more equipped to handle the situation. You just had to deal with it right on the spot. It wasn't those things you're going to get any delays on. But so I had that experience when I started thinking about that podcast to see where the overlap was, particularly with when you start talking about people that are dealing with both mental and physical handicaps that have issues with anxiety and also with depression. So I hope that kind of explains that a little more. And we'll be staying in touch. And if I go out and catch some things at the the Burlsworth football camp, I'll try to report some more on that.